JCB, as you know, is Bamford Group, and it says JCB is a very successful company. They make construction equipment, and they've been in India for many years. Initially with escorts, and now by themselves. Am I right?
Yeah.
And the head of JCB, he says, in admiration of India, he says, you give an idea to India and it comes back even better. We have learned more from India than we have taught India. We have our best dealer body in the world in India, and it has forced us to evolve our franchise discipline. It has changed how we approach dealers, and we can apply this in other parts of the world. We ensured our Indian colleagues understood how much we learned from them. It's critical to make this learning a two-way, not a one-way process. India is now a very significant part of our business, so by right, they have a place at the top table. This is how one of the largest manufacturers of construction equipment describes the Indian marketplace. It goes on, and there's just one more point I want to make here, after which I'll leave the floor open to Ravi. One of the things I like is he quotes Mr. Shiv Kumar, who is the Senior Vice President, India, Middle East and Africa of Nokia. And he has said, India has a lot of vitality, but an equal dose of volatility. It's not for the faint-hearted. Very true. I tell you, India is a magnificent marketplace. Very recently something happened in our own life in BDB. Our company specializes in developing strategies for growth, as many of you know, but we deal only with the marketplace. We believe that growth comes from the marketplace, so we research the market and develop a roadmap for growth of companies. Growth in sales, growth in turnover, growth in profits. And over the last 26 years or so, what we've learned is that if we can research the Indian market, if we can develop a strategy for growth in the Indian marketplace, we can actually develop a strategy for growth anywhere in the world. So we actually believe in the message of this book. It is a good book, worth reading, excellently written, and worth possessing. Over to Ravi Venkatesan. Thank you for taking the time off to come here.
Well, I hope I can live up to this billing, and I hope I have something new to say after he's disclosed so much. First of all, good morning, and I want to say how thrilled I am to be back here, because Pune has been the city where I've lived the largest portion of my life. It's been interrupted with stints in other places, but if anybody asks me, what do you call home, what do you think of as home, I still say Pune. This is where I have some of my closest friends. This is where I still own a home, and so it's been really sort of very emotional for me to be back here and have this opportunity to talk to you. You can read the book, okay? So I'm going to, while it's about this book, I'm going to talk about some themes that may be related to it rather than directly speak to the book itself. First of all, why did I write a book? I came back to India in 1996. I was with Cummins then, and I was very young. And I remember everybody was opposed to the idea. My parents said, why do you want to leave a nice life in America and come back here? And that route was to Jamshedpur, it wasn't to Pune. And so now you can understand why people who love me were concerned. And when I was determined, the CEO of the company, Tim Solso, called me to his office and he said, we think well of you. You have a good career here. Why do you want to go back to India? I said, no, I've never worked there. Things are happening, and I want to be part of helping build, a good country. And so when he saw I was determined, he said, okay, but remember why we are sending you there. There was this difficult joint venture with Tata Motors. It was called Tata Cummins. And it was doing very badly in '96. Very new one. And so he said, your job is to shut it down, and when it shuts down, we should lose as little money as possible. So don't attempt anything significant. That's not the mission. So, okay, that's fine. And then I showed up in Jamshedpur, and And I realized there's nothing wrong with the market. We have done everything wrong between Cummins and Tata Motors, and therefore we started fixing it. And pretty soon it turned around. By 1998 or so, it had really it was beginning to do well. And so I got the opportunity to move to Pune and help build all of Cummins in India. And it was a fantastic time. Many of my former colleagues are here. They did all the work. I took all the credit. But during that period of time, we started so many new businesses. You know, a lubricants business, a small genset business, and so on and so forth. And by 2004, it was almost $1 billion. And so it was, if you ask me what do I feel best about my professional life, I would say that was it. In 2004, or late 2003, I got a phone call from a headhunter, and I was sure it was a hoax. You know, these hoax calls. Because he says, Microsoft wants to talk to you. And I said, what is this? You know, I don't know anything about IT. And people like Sampath and Sanjay and Annu will remember, my secretary used to print out my email and give it to me in a folder. And I would take it home, write something, and give it back to him next morning. So I wasn't even interested in IT, I didn't use IT. And I said, this must be a joke. Anyway, he said, listen, get on a plane, how often do you get a free ticket to go and meet Bill Gates? I said, that's a good point. So I went and met Bill Gates. Next thing I know is a decision. Everybody I spoke to said, don't do it. Not because Microsoft's not a great company, this is a bad combination. It's going to end badly. And that includes my very dear friend Annuaga, it includes my friend Nandan Nilekini, and so my own family. They said, this is not a good idea. And I said, okay, I'm 40 years old, I don't want to turn 50 and say, I wonder what my life would have been like had I done it. So I'd rather try and get fired in 6 months than grow old wondering what life would have been like. So I did. It was a fantastic time, you know, but I must admit, luck has a lot to do with things. I joined in 2004 and left in 2012. Those were mostly the boom years in the Indian economy. Anything that was planted was growing well. And we also had a good team. So anyway, so as Manish was mentioning, we built it into the very successful business, it was $1 billion. And that's when I decided to walk away. But what I realized in that process is, succeeding in countries like India is a highly unnatural act, even for the best of companies, even for Cummins, even for Microsoft, even for JCB, Unilever. It's a constant struggle to explain to your people in headquarters how things in India are different. And doing the same things is unlikely to produce success. And so our successes were very exceptional. Luck had a lot to do with it. And it was just too much hard work. You know, I didn't have gray hair until after the Microsoft experience. And I saw that 99% of multinational companies in India are doing badly. Badly as in they're there, but they're really not making much money. They're irrelevant. They're part of what I call a 1% club. India contributes 1% of their global profits. And if it shut down, nobody would even notice. Okay? And that's a bad thing for India. Because India needs good global companies who bring investment, more importantly, create jobs, bring know-how, technology. We have, if we're going to develop, that's a piece of it. And particularly after 2010, previous government did a fantastic job scaring away companies. Okay? And so I found that there was this alarming anger towards India. And I felt that I should, having worked so much for multinational companies, I should write a book that explains what does it take to succeed in spite of all the problems. And that's why I went about it. Today I'm going to talk just about 3 questions. So I'm going to answer this question that I was repeatedly asked, and I still asked as I do my talks around the world. Does India really matter? Okay? Or is this one more false start? Okay? One more false promise that's going to be dashed. Second, what does it really take to succeed, and why is this so uncommon? And then the most important question, where is India going? It's fine to say, how do we conquer the chaos? Is it more likely that the chaos will conquer us? And what should we be doing as